$6,017 on the dollar. No tax on your savings and no more death taxes, which you will not believe will go uncollected by the IRS.
Just some words, fine. Can I see your tickets? You guys have your tickets? Do you have a ticket?
They asked for these three folks. I don't know why you're here.
I'm with these guys, actually.
Okay, they're probably going to be leaving, so you're willing to leave with them?
That's fine. Yeah, I came with them.
This is called the March 24th Committee to Arrest Giuliani. Okay, we're working to leave the building right now. What? Oh, this go right this way, guys. What? You're being
What country are we living in again? Here.
What was the reason for being evicted, by the way?
Profanity.
Profanity?
Yes, sir.
It's great.
Maybe interested in
There was no cussing. I don't know where the profanity came from.
The building's asked you to leave. I'm sorry. Please don't come back. That's it.
Yep.
You flipped them off.
Never sends you an omen. A revolution just arrived like the morning. Ring the alarm, we come to wake up the snoring. They're telling you to never worry about the future. They're telling you to never worry about the torture. They're telling you that you will never see the horror. Spend it all today and we will bill you tomorrow. 3-piece suits and bank accounts in Bahamas. Wall Street crime will never send you to the slammer. Tell all the children in the arms of the mamas. The F-15 is a homicide bomber. TV commercial for a popper pill culture. Drug companies circling like a vulture. Amaraki babies with the G.I. Joe father. 10 years from now, is anybody gonna bother? Yell fire! Yo, 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 yo. Yell fire! Yo, 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 yo. Yell fire! Yo, 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 yo. Yell fire!
I went down to the scene and we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street, which was right there with the police commissioner, the fire commissioner, the head of emergency management, and we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse. And it did collapse before we could actually get out of the building, so we were trapped in the building for 10-15 minutes and finally found an exit and got out, walked north, and took a lot of people.
More than 2 years after the attacks, fury and frustration still seethe and erupt. Audience members, including family of 9/11 victims, accused the commission of lobbing softballs at former Mayor Rudy Giuliani and other witnesses.
It's just unbelievable to me that we're not getting at the issues. This is our last opportunity to have people swear under oath what happened.
The commission chair said many key questions had been asked, just not in public.
Every one of these witnesses has testified at length in private. So if we didn't ask questions here, we probably have asked them already in private.
Giuliani said he understood the demonstrators' emotions, but felt they should be channeled elsewhere.
Our anger should clearly be directed, and the blame should clearly be directed at one source and one source alone: the terrorists who killed our loved ones.
We pressed early on for for a full-scale investigation. And of course, one of the issues was, while we were doing that, the evidence from the buildings was being destroyed as we were talking about it. And we were advocating early on back then that that the process of removing the steel, certainly that wasn't an issue of getting it off the site. But once it was off the site, because this is of course part of a rescue and recovery operation, once it was off the site, there was no real need for speed, basically, to get this steel just, cut up into small pieces and shipped overseas for scrap.
The structural steel that would have been key to figuring out what happened to these buildings, what happened to that? Well, New York City accepted a plan 11 days after the attack to immediately start recycling the steel. Not even in the United States, where some of it might have gotten saved inadvertently. No, it was put on ships bound for India and China to be melted down.
We were concerned about that, and we understood early on that that those are going to hold the keys to knowing exactly how the buildings came down. And unfortunately, we were not successful in getting the elected officials and the powers that be to do that. When it was all said and done, we only had relatively a very, very small portion of the steel from those buildings.
There's about 250 pieces of structural steel that we know of saved for analysis, but out of some 200,000 tons.
There are certain things that really kind of go, yeah, is that true? And then like the calling away the evidence was definitely one of them, especially by a prosecutor like Rudolph Giuliani. I mean, who should ought to know that you don't take away forensic evidence from a crime scene,
It's hard to imagine how at a crime scene you can destroy evidence so quickly and thoroughly and get away with it.
Oh, we're getting ready to pull Building 6.
We have to be very careful how we demolish Building 6.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Yeah, he said we're going to pull. He said we're going to pull the building. Silverstein said we're going to pull the building.
And we got the firemen saying they pulled it. I mean, Silverstein goes on PBS and says it, and we're the weirdos when he says it on TV. Unbelievable. Let's see that one more time.
Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
It takes demolition experts weeks to prepare for the destruction of a building. How do they do it on 9/11 in just a few hours?
Coming off the building.
Did it occur to you at all at that time that these buildings might actually collapse?
Yeah, but not the way they did. It occurred to all of us that they would ultimately collapse over the way buildings usually collapse, which is in stages. It looked like at some point the top of the building had come off, and then maybe the middle of the building, and then maybe there'd be a shell left, and the way number 7 came down, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, over a period of time. But the idea that it would the implosion that took place, I actually didn't realize that until much later, because when that happened, I was in the police department command post, so I didn't see it. I heard it. I saw the result of it. The building started shaking, and the desk started shaking.
And how do you sleep at night?
Ma'am, I didn't know that the towers were going to collapse. Can you report